Hey y'all, it's Lauren. This week I'm talking with Brynn Howard about owning a business. This is the Chicks and Dip podcast. Hey y'all, it's Lauren back with another episode of the Chicks and Dip podcast. Thank y'all so much for being here. We have a wonderful episode for y'all today. I have on a great guest. It is my friend Brynn. She is a business owner. She's fabulous. I cannot wait for y'all to meet her. We just wrapped up her interview and it was a really, really good conversation. Before we get into it, I have some Christmas content. I have, the interview, but before we get into it, I want to talk about something. By the time this comes out, it'll be like a week old news. But y'all know I'm like a big Mississippi State girly. I went there. I'm a huge Mississippi State fan. And our head football coach, Mike Leach, has passed away. And so I'm wearing my Mississippi State football jersey today in honor of him. We found out this morning that he passed away overnight. And they're saying it was a heart attack. And I wanted to talk about this, not just to tell y'all some sad news, but because I did not expect for me to be so upset about this. I was literally crying about this last night and then again this morning and crying on the phone with my mom when she called me about it yesterday. I just didn't expect to actually be upset. You know what I mean? Because I've never met him before. But it's I think that a lot of people are kind of having the same feelings. I've been, scrolling obviously Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of it, and seeing all similar posts of people being wow, I just feel really weird and sad and upset right now. And I didn't expect it. And I just think that speaks to the power of college football. And I know that sounds crazy, but I mean, y'all, that's true. These coaches and players, whenever they're leading your team or any team, you feel connected to them. It's weird. It's more of a personal connection to me than a celebrity. You know what I mean? Of course, if something happened to one of my favorite celebrities, I would be sad, but it feels like I've lost someone I actually know, a friend or something, and I think it's because if you're especially, I feel an SEC college football fan, you feel so connected and so strongly. And that's my weekends. Every Saturday, all fall, I watch college football. I watch Mississippi State and I watch Mike Leach. And, me and my family, we would call each other after the games if we weren't in person and be oh my God, did you see what Coach said in his post-game interview? These people really become kind of a part of your life. And so I don't know, that has just been on my mind the past few days. It's just I just didn't expect to feel so sad about it. And so, my heart obviously goes out to his family and all of the players and all of the Mississippi State community. But it just, of course it's sad. But like I said, I think it's really cool to see so many college football fans and teams and other schools paying tribute. And I just think that it just speaks to the personal level that sports can have on people. And I don't know. It's really weird and it's really cool and sad. And it's really, I've seen some really, really nice tributes to, Coach on the internet and all of these amazing clips of him, just saying the funniest stuff. So that's been, while it is really, really sad, it's been kind of heartwarming to, look back throughout the morning while I had my coffee on some of his greatest moments, But, like I said, I don't want to bring the podcast down. But that's something that's really been on my mind. And I also, wanted to explain why I'm just randomly wearing a Mississippi State jersey if you're watching the video version. But yeah, so I love y'all. I just feel I feel this happens around the holidays. Every year, I feel just that shit starts happening. Do you know what I mean? People start getting in car accidents and whatever. And maybe it's just because people are traveling more. I don't know. But I just have had several close personal friends, not aside from Coach, but close personal friends who have had relatives have heart attacks or, serious medical things just out of the blue. And so y'all, just a little reminder, hug your relatives, call people, tell them you love them. Again, I'm not bringing this show down. I'm not sad. I'm not going to cry again. But just a reminder. It's just a reminder. Speaking of the holidays, I'm pivoting. Speaking of the holidays, I did ask you guys for your Christmas stories, and y'all delivered as usual. So this will come out the Monday before Christmas, which is like fabulous. And so I'm going to share a couple of little Christmas traditions that I have, and then I'm going to talk about some of y'all's. So in my family, we have two big traditions. We do gumbo. I've talked about, like my family, we love Cajun food. We're all, from Mississippi. Some of us live in Louisiana. That's where we're all at. So we're all about the etouffee, the gumbo, all of it. So every Christmas Eve, like my entire life, my dad has been making seafood gumbo. And y'all, when I tell you it's perfection, he has been tweaking this recipe for years. It's got crab, shrimp, all of the seasonings and spices. And so we serve it over just a little bit of rice with a little bit of hot sauce is how I like to take my gumbo. Perfect. It takes so long to make. Like it takes hours and hours to make. I don't know how to do it. I'm trying to learn a little bit every year. I don't trust myself to even attempt it at all yet. But it takes so long to make. And then we munch on it for like a day and a half. We make the huge pot and we just keep on eating it until it's like empty. It's so good. It's perfect. So that's kind of an interesting food tradition. I think a lot of people have fun food stuff. The other thing that we do, also something that I've been doing my entire life. My mom's brother, Uncle Damon, he reads 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, the book, to me and my sister, and he has done it for my entire life. Katie's going sweetness. It really... Yes, look, adopt it. It really is like the sweetest tradition ever. And I mean, I'm telling you, like, I don't remember when it started because it's been that long. But he will read it over the phone if he's not there. And I mean, I'm 26 years old and on Christmas Eve, he will be reading me a story. Like, that's just how it goes. And like last year we were with him. We were all together and we were down at the Villages in Florida. And we all like went out on Christmas Eve to like the town square. I had like a green tea shot with my grandma. It was awesome. And then we came back and like, we're all together. So we really didn't even think about doing it. So me and Rachel like got into bed. We're like almost asleep. And then my mom like shoots in the room and she's like, we can't forget the book. And I like literally contacts out asleep, and Uncle Damon came in there and sat on the air mattress with me and my sister and read us the story. Like, it will not be missed ever. And I love it. I mean, like one day whenever me and Rachel have children, like I guess it'll just be a group event, like I'll be like, oh yeah, he's reading to the kids, but like he's actually reading to me 100%. Yeah. Katie said it'll transfer down. Exactly. I hope that it does. I think that that's a really cute one. Honestly, I think both of them should. Like, I would like to learn how to make the gumbo from my dad so that one day I can make the gumbo. I think that those are solid. But I asked you guys for some of your fun Christmas stories, and I got some cool ones. We have two food ones. Someone said, for some reason, my family only eats finger foods on Christmas Eve, and I love it. I'm obsessed with this. I feel like a lot of people do this. Like, it's Christmas Eve. We're not getting the plates out. We're not doing the dishes like that. We are going to make a buffet of pickings, and you are going to just graze all night. Graze all night, eat so many cookies, and go to bed. That's the ultimate Christmas Eve. I love that. The other person who wrote in about food says... My family has a full-ass spaghetti ziti Christmas feast, and we're not even remotely Italian. This is the opposite of the finger food, but I actually love this too. Like, big hearty pasta meal to get you to sleep. Like that little bit of excitement that you have on Christmas Eve is just like totally killed by all the carbs you just ate. So you can just go right to bed. I love it. This one is pretty good. Someone says, before my grandfather died, for decades, he passed out a basket of plastic eggs filled with cash at Christmas. It was always a surprise who would get $1, $10, $50, or the coveted $100. In first grade, I wrote about this tradition, and my teacher made fun of me in front of everyone. She thought I was an idiot who got my holidays mixed up. My grandfather sent her a letter and a photo for proof. I love this grandfather like setting y'all up to be like the kid in class that no one knows what they're talking about. Like, he's like, oh, Christmas? Let's do an Easter egg hunt and really confuse them. That is so cute and so funny. Also, $100 in an Easter egg on Christmas. Random. And what a good gift. I love it. This one is so funny. This person says, I have 2 terrible Christmas gift stories involving the same ex. Y'all, he's the ex for a reason. One year for Christmas, he went to Germany with his family. He said he got me something that I would love when he saw it. Or wait. Sorry, y'all. Reading. He said he got me something that I would love, and when he saw it, he thought of me. We had been together for 2 years, and it was all perfect, so I immediately thought he got me an engagement ring. He got me one of those basic athletic-looking stretchy headbands with a gold leaf on it. It looked like something he spent $2 on at Claire's. I never wear headbands. It was a huge disappointment. Y'all, imagine expecting a full-on engagement ring proposal and you get a stretchy headband. No. Also, the hype. You went to another country to get this and that was it? That's all you could do? I would literally be more happy with a German beer or something, or those German chocolates that you can't get here. I would be happier with a snack from Germany. Also, I think that Germany is kind of the theme of this episode. Yeah, y'all will see. Whenever I get to my interview, I mention the German listener that we have out there somewhere twice. So big shout out, Germany. Then she goes on to say, same girl. She says, same ex, different year. I have him a whole Christmas list of what I wanted. What did I get instead? A tiny vase from Anthropologie that was so small I couldn't even put anything in it. I never used or wanted a vase. He got me nothing from the list I literally gave him and then got mad when I was disappointed. Y'all, I just don't understand why men do this. I have given so many Christmas lists, birthday lists, whatever, to people. And the only ones who follow directions are my mom and sister. Honestly, Cameron, love him to death. Love him to death. I know he probably hasn't even opened my email that had my Christmas list on it. They don't listen. We spell it out for you. And that's the thing. Whenever you talk to a boy, they're don't beat around the bush whenever you're trying to communicate with a man. Just tell him what you want. I'm okay, here's a Christmas list. And what do? Ball it up and throw it over their shoulder and say, forget it. I'm just going to get her a tiny little vase. What? Also, I have questions about the tiny vase. What do they make tiny vases for? You know what I mean? Is it for a single, I could see a world where someone has a gorgeous coffee table and then it's the tiniest vase you've ever seen and it's got a single dandelion in it. I could see that. Oh, Katie said there's a bud vase. What does that mean? A bud vase is a small vase. She says a bud vase is a small vase. For a single dandelion is what that's for. I mean, oh, she just bought a whole pack. Wow, okay, well, never mind. It sounds like these might be actually, I'm shitting on the bud vases. These might be a hot item. Maybe I need to when
you go to a restaurant and there's little vases at the table.
Oh, okay. Katie just explained what a bud vase is to me. She said when you go to a restaurant, there's those little vases and it's got literally one flower in it next to the tea candle. Okay. All right. Well, you know what? Those are pretty. However, if my boyfriend got me one as a Christmas gift, I don't know if I would understand. Especially if I sent him a list. Weird vibes. I'm sorry, girlfriend. That's horrible. I have gotten a lot of good Christmas gifts. I really have. One of the best ones, I say that Cameron doesn't listen, but he did get me the best gift last year. And it was something that I wouldn't have even thought to put on my list. It was a bike, and y'all, that has been the best gift. I love to ride my bike around town. And so that was a really good gift. And I would have never asked for that because I pretty much exclusively ask for clothes and purses and shoes and stuff. But the bike, that was a really good gift. Wow. The vase. I'm sorry, girlfriend. But anyway, I won't keep rambling. Before I get into it with our guest, I do need to tell you about Neutral. Y'all know I've been plugging Neutral every single week. Y'all know her. You love her. I've got neutral cranberry back on the set today. And again, this is our Christmas episode, so I'm not changing out this cranberry set until after the holidays because it's too good. It is so good. The touch of cranberry is just like a little touch of Christmas cheer in like every can. It's so good. And I've been like really loving these. We've had so many events the past couple of weeks, like literally every single night we have somewhere to go. And I actually really like a neutral, like with a straw in it or over ice with like a little cranberry on top. Like while I do my makeup, it's really light. It's really refreshing. It's really good, y'all. I can't plug them enough. Thank you so much to Neutral for supporting this show. We love you. Merry Christmas, Neutral. Okay, we're going to get into it with Brynn. Let's go. Hey y'all, I'm here with this week's guest. This is Brynn Howard. She is the owner of two boutiques, the Printed Peach and Lime and Lemon. She is based in Savannah, Georgia. She's a friend. She's a badass. Welcome to the pod.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, what a special day to be on the podcast.
I absolutely love it.
Yay, we're excited.
So I just got done telling the listeners all of these crazy Christmas stories. Do you have anything?
Yes, well, I would say probably my favorite memory of Christmas. Well, I don't know about favorite, but one of the biggest memories that my parents tell about every year is when we would go and get our Christmas tree. So my mom's house was next to a Christmas tree farm. Mm-hmm. So we would just literally walk next door to the Christmas tree farm and we would cut down the biggest tree we could find and then we would drag it back through the yard into the house. And inevitably, I would fall every single year. So I'm from Pennsylvania and it would always have like 3 feet of snow and I would trip and fall and we would take a picture and I would be covered in mud. And that's just like not my personality at all.
No.
Falling is, but the mud and like the dirt, not my thing. So.
Not your vibe. Yeah. I can't picture you in, like a muddy pair of overalls or something. I just can't do it.
Not my thing. No.
Do you have any like qualms about having a birthday so close to Christmas?
Oh, no, I love it. So I celebrate the whole month of December and I call it Brynn-cember. And we really get into it. So no, I love it.
I agree. Mine is barely in December. It's the first week, but I'm like, it's more fun. Like there's lights everywhere, glitter everywhere. Happy birthday.
I'm glad it's before. Thanks. Yeah. I'm glad it's before. My sister's birthday is the 3 days after. Well, it's the 3rd of January. Mm-hmm. So she always gets like the short end of the stick, I feel like. But for me, since it's before, it's like, no, we're not combining. It's separate for sure. So yeah.
These are two holidays.
And I also have the same birthday as Taylor Swift, which is so cool.
I forgot it's Taylor's birthday.
Yeah, she's 10 years older than me to the day.
God.
So. That's pretty neat. I love it. It's great.
That's why you're so fabulous.
Oh, well, thanks.
Obviously. Oh my God. Okay. So obviously in your intro, I mentioned your businesses and that's what we're going to talk about today. But I guess we can start. Tell me a little bit about yourself. You said you're from Pennsylvania. How did you get here? Tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I moved to Savannah in 2018 and I went to SCAD, which is the Savannah College of Art and Design. I'm still a current student. It's like kind of taking me a while, but we're getting there. And I worked for another boutique that was called Palm Avenue. They were the Lilly Pulitzer store in Savannah all through college. And during COVID, they decided to close. And I was like kind of about to finish up finishing up my junior year, going in to be a senior. And I was like, I don't really want to leave Savannah, kind of just like throwing the idea around of like, what can I do to stay in Savannah? And when I found out Palm Avenue was closing, I called my dad and I was like, this is a crazy idea, but I want to see if they would sell a business. I want to stay in Savannah. I love Lilly. I always kind of wanted to open a boutique, but I figured it would probably be back home. And I was like, let's just see. It doesn't hurt to ask. So one thing led to the next. And that's kind of when the Printed Peach became about.
Oh my God. Okay. So I love that you said you had kind of thought about it. Like did you know that you wanted to be a business owner? What were you in school for?
Fashion marketing.
Okay.
So my parents are both entrepreneurs. My brothers will be fifth generation of like a small business. So I've grown up around the lifestyle. Uh-huh. I've always known that some way or another, I wanted to be my own boss and like just figure out I didn't really want to go into like the corporate world. Mm-hmm. And obviously with being in fashion, you either kind of are or you are not. Like there's really no in between. So I always kind of knew I wanted to do something. I didn't really know exactly what, but I had an opportunity that kind of just fell into my lap and took advantage of it.
I love it. So what was the hardest thing to overcome in opening your first business, do you think?
The whole thing. I think it's just so overwhelming.
True.
I would say my parents were such great guides, but at the same time, they're not at all. Like they just know what they're doing so well, especially my dad. And he is the worst person to ask for advice because he doesn't really know how to give advice. He just like kind of I don't know. He's different. Like he'll just be like, figure it out. That's their whole life motto with us kids is like, and I think that that's what's made me such a strong business owner is, I mean, I don't know about strong business owner, but just I just have figured it out on my own. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Because learning and figuring out on your own is truly like so amazing because it's like the adventure along the way of just like figuring. I don't know. People ask me all the time, like, what's it like to run a business? And I was like, I don't know. You just figure it out. And I think that is true. You do just figure it out. I mean, same thing with you, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You don't really, I mean, you just learn along the way and take advantage of the opportunities that you have. So
you totally do. And I was actually on the phone with my mom last night. And it's just exactly what you said. You're figuring it out. And I told her, I was like, Mom, like the biggest adjustment for me coming from jobs where I can make a to-do list for the day and check them all off the list and then go home and forget about work at 5 o'clock. That has been the weirdest transition because, well, number one, I obviously fall asleep every night and I'm thinking about work now. That's new.
Definitely.
But every day I do make a to-do list and every day I crumble it up and it changes on the hour.
For sure. I think that's definitely interesting. Like I guess for me, I never had that 9-to-5 job. I just literally was in college and then opened a business. So it wasn't ever that like, I didn't have to like kind of figure out how to go in between of like, what do normal people do? And then what do I do?
Yeah.
So for me, every day, I think that's a good point. Like, I think that's the biggest thing is when you have a 9-to-5 job, like my oldest sister, she has a 9-to-5 job. At the end of the day, she can turn off her phone and shut her laptop and it's like, okay, I'll pick up work tomorrow. And for me, it's like, oh my gosh, sure. I plug in my phone and I hop in the shower and it's like 10 minutes later, I have 50 messages I have to answer. So there's no like 9-to-5, there's no hours. It's all the time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We did this whole episode about like phone habits and stuff. And since that episode, I have evolved like crazy because I talked a lot about how like I really used to like let my messages, which I still do it a little bit, but like I would let my messages build and build and build. I wouldn't answer DMs on Instagram for like 3 days and then I'd do them in bulk. And now I'm like having to force myself. I'm like, Lauren, like if someone sends the podcast page a message, you open it when they send it and you respond. Like you've got to be better. I'm tough.
I'm the opposite of that. Like people message me and I'm really bad about it because I'm the worst person to like go to dinner with or just like, I just don't have a normal life. And I think that I love that. I think that it's like, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't change this for the world, but it is, I notice like when I go to dinner with my friends or even when we were out last weekend, it's like, okay, I'm texting a customer. Like
exactly.
You can't turn it off.
It becomes like a part of you. It's not your job. It's like,
no, it's my life. It's my whole livelihood. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
That's been a weird adjustment.
Yeah.
So what is your like, I mean, of course it's different every day, but like what's the behind the scenes of your job look like? Like what's your day to day roughly?
So get up, get ready. That's like my biggest thing. I always feel like if I look good, I feel good. And that's like the biggest thing. I always make sure that I like have my hair done, have a full face of makeup. Cause I just really, you never know that I learned this kind of the hard way. I never know what my day is going to be thrown at me. So the biggest thing is like, I'll come to work and I'll look just terrible. Like I'll have my hair in a claw clip, won't have any makeup on, and then someone that follows me on Instagram will come into the store. Inevitably, it happens every single time, and it's like, oh my gosh, I look terrible. Please don't take a picture with me. Please, like, I just can't. I mean, I don't say that to them, but I say that in my head.
Yep.
So that's like my biggest goal every morning is to make sure that I don't leave my house until I like look presentable. Get to the store, open the store. Kind of just like, I don't know. I always get coffee on the way. That's like the first thing. Nothing happens before I have coffee. Everyone that is in my life knows that.
Yep.
So I get coffee, go to the store. I love to run the store, like the floor aspect of it with retail. I know a lot of people that own boutiques, they probably don't necessarily do like the day to day, like just on the floor whenever customers are coming in. And that's like my favorite thing to do. I love to talk to people. I think that's what's so special about Savannah is that there are so many different people that come here that live all over. So that's like the biggest thing. So I work the floor. Usually around lunchtime, I go into my office and just like get emails done, do a lot of like the buying stuff. Like I'm always keeping an eye on like what inventory we need, what reorders we need. I run all of our social pages. So the Printed Peach obviously being my main one, but I'm trying to like revamp on Lime and Lemon as well. Social media is a lot. It like takes so much time. Yeah. Just like getting back to messages, posting stories, figuring out what's going on. We're trying to like dabble into reels a little bit. Just like trying to stay relevant it's so hard, but I love that. That's my favorite aspect. So work the floor, ship out orders. We ship orders and pull orders all day long. Like orders that roll in off our website. I do a lot of phone orders. I talk to customers all day long. I always have my AirPods in and my girls will never know if I'm talking to them or if I'm talking to a customer. Like inevitably all day long, I'm on the phone with someone. And then just like, I don't know, get stuff done around the store, make sure everything's clean. We get shipment every single day. That's exhausting and so fun. We get boxes and you just like kind of never know what's going to come in. So open those. Always like grabbing one for me to make sure it goes home with me. And then go home and just like, I usually play with my dogs for like an hour and then I put on Netflix and get else whatever I need to get done for the rest of the day. And then wake up, I'll go to bed, wake up, do it again the next day.
Oh my gosh. I love what you said. You're like, it's exhausting, but so fun.
It is. It really, I mean, it truly is so fun. Like I don't ever get sick of what I do. And I think obviously I'm new to this for sure, but, and I even look at my dad. My dad's been doing this his entire life. And I was just home with him this past weekend and he just like wakes up and he's like, I got to go to the shop. There's so much that I can do today. And that's how I feel. Like it's even on Sunday, like was that Sunday 2 days ago. It's just, that's how I was like, I can't wait to get back to Savannah. I can't wait to get to the store to make sure just like merchandise things, make sure things look good and ready to meet new people.
I really like what you just said. And I'm about to adopt that. You said, there's so much I can get done today.
Yeah.
That is such a positive way of saying there's so much I have to do today. I like there's so much I can get done today. That is so positive.
Yeah, thanks.
I love that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just, I think I always try to turn it around. It's like not what I have to get done, but what I can get done. And I know that there are some things like I can push to the next day. And don't get me wrong. There are things all day long. There's always more to be done.
Yep.
And I have a couple employees. It's just me and my best friend Amelia that work with me every day. And then we have a couple part-time girls, but I don't ever ask them to do anything that I wouldn't do. So there's a lot of stuff that they really like. If I can't do it that day, I don't really ask them to do it. So it's just like they kind of just like take on more of the stuff that's on the floor. And there's just so much back in the house stuff that could be done, like breaking down boxes and organizing stuff. And it never ends. So at the end of the day, I always have to know, like you were saying about a to-do list. You can't, there's no way I could get all the stuff I really need to get done in a day. And I can't do it in a day. No. I mean, I can't do it in a week. I can't do it in a month. So just knowing, like rolling in the back of my head, what really needs to be done by this date type of situation. So
I'm like, you're making me feel validated. Cause I mean, Katie has seen it. We have like this little board system that we use. And like, I go in there every week and I make a to-do list like for the week is kind of how I like to do it instead of for the day. Cause that just doesn't work. Yeah. But even sometimes the like week wraps up and I'll like put a note like, next week, question mark, you know, it just, things come up and things take a lot longer than you think, like especially the socials. Oh my God.
I think too, like our website, importing stuff into our website, that was the thing. So I launched my boutique Lime and Lemon. It's a fully online boutique. It's kind of a different story than what we do at the Printed Peach. The Printed Peach, we're a Lily Pulitzer store. So everything that kind of fits that lifestyle. But within Lime and Lemon, I was like noticing, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just want more fun clothes to like go out in. And obviously just things that kind of fit more of the vibe of like young women versus what my demographic is at the Printed Peach. So I was like, I just want to switch it up a little bit. And in my head, it sounded like such a good idea. And on paper, it's so much harder than I really thought. So it's just like a learning curve. Obviously, I think the biggest thing for me is I've learned how much I love having a brick and mortar store. And I just love, I'm a people person. I love to see people all day long. So putting stuff on a website and just doing all of that stuff, it takes so much more time than I ever would have imagined.
Yeah. That was one of my questions, like the differences of the two, of the physical store plus the online.
The online is so much harder.
That's so interesting. I feel like people would think like, oh, it's like a remote thing, you know, like it's not that bad.
Yeah, no, it's like a whole new beast that I didn't even know existed. I mean, I love it so much, but it's just, and I am really glad that I did it during the time that I did it because there's so much potential with online because you have a whole new consumer base like that you don't even know exists. Like right now we have a consumer base, same thing with your podcast, same thing with my brand that we don't know exists. That's the cool thing about the internet, but it's like figuring out how to find them and putting in the work to find them is like, that's the hard part.
Yeah. It is weird. Like I look at the analytics of this show like often and it's just crazy. Like we did the Spotify rap thing and like the podcasters got a Spotify rap. Yeah. I'm like, who is listening to us in Germany and how did you get here? And like, teach me how to find your friends.
Yeah,
like
how?
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
If you're listening,
super neat. Let us know.
Shout out Germany.
Yeah, it's super interesting for sure. So.
Yeah. So what do you, what like kind of qualities, there we go. What kind of qualities do you think a business owner needs to have? Because I mean, I don't think it's cut out for everyone. What do you think about that?
Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest thing is you just have to really have the drive and like, I think that's the biggest thing. And you have to just have the motivation to be able to get up every day, even when you don't want to, and like just get whatever you have to do, get done. I think that's like with my I always use my oldest sister for example because she's the one out of the 5 of us that works for a big company. And for her, like she has sick days. Like I lost my grandmother last week and she got to take I think 5 days off of work, which is great. I mean, obviously like she needed the time, we all needed the time, but for the rest of us it's like if I don't go to work I don't make any money. If I mean at the end of the day, like I am the person that has to get all this stuff done to make sure that our bills are paid.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest thing. You just have to, it's so different. I mean, there's so many different qualities. I don't think there's one specific thing that can make sure that, you know, that there's not like a specific suit that you can wear and this makes you whoever you want to be. But I think just, you have to have the passion. I think that's the biggest thing because obviously every day is going to be so different and there are much more probably bad days than good days, but you just have to figure it out.
Yeah.
And be willing to learn. I think that's like the biggest thing. Like, I don't know. For sure.
Oh my God. That's what like, I mean, I feel like the older I get, and I've talked about this on the show before, but like the older I get, I think the less hard-headed I'm getting, especially professionally. It's definitely a slower growing process in my personal life. But professionally, I'm getting a lot better about that. And like, I keep waiting. Like, I don't know if that's imposter syndrome or something else, if there's a better term for it, but like, I keep waiting for like, that moment where I, you know, like get like punched in the face by something. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like I'm like being like young and hard headed and like something flops. Like I'm waiting.
Definitely. That's funny.
I'm scared.
Yeah. No. I get it. I think it too, just like being willing to fail. I think every day it's like, all right, I totally messed this up and just acknowledging like, okay, I did this wrong. What can I do tomorrow to make sure that it doesn't happen again? Or what can I do to make this better? But it is hard. I don't think people realize that. I think too, for me, and I'm sure it's the same thing with you. Like I'm young, people look at me and they're like, oh, there has to be someone else that's doing the work for her. And I'm like, nah, it's just me. So that is the hardest thing. Like, I just think that realizing that you're not going to be perfect, that's my biggest thing is like, obviously you're bound to make mistakes, even just in a normal job, everyone makes mistakes. But for us, it's like, we're the only people that can take the blame because there's no one else to put the blame on.
That's what's so cool about it.
Yeah.
And like whenever you have a big win, you can look back and be like, yo, I did that.
That was me.
Like,
yeah, for sure. Absolutely. But on the opposite side, it's like, okay, when you mess something up, it's like, that was also me.
That was all me.
That was me. Yeah, for sure. So, and it happens. I mean, we're human.
Yeah.
And there's so many things in my brain that are telling me what I have to do. I'm the opposite. I don't write anything down. I set alarms on my phone to remind me, like at 10:30, it's like I was home and I had to do something and I set an alarm and it was the middle of my grandma's funeral and my alarm was going off. I was like, I have to send an email. That's how I use things to remind myself. And I mean, that's just, everybody has their own way of doing things, but that's the biggest thing. It's just like realizing that on one hand, when you do things great, it's all you. But on the other hand, when you do things wrong, it's also all you. There's really no in between.
That's true. And so I do want to touch on, we are both young women in the like entrepreneurial sphere. Why do you think it's important to like have people like us in here? You know, like why do you think that it's important that they're young women business owners?
I think especially being like young and a woman, I think it's two of those things because people, when you think of like a business owner, especially in Savannah, you think of someone who is usually a man and usually is a lot older who has like been doing this for so long, but someone our age has to have the drive and have the desire to want to take over businesses and run businesses. And I think too, just to realize that like, yes, that I'm young, but we can still get it done. We can still do the job. I think that that's super awesome for sure.
I agree. And I've like, of course we talk about the team all the time, but like, I feel so lucky to have like Katie and Calvin. Yeah. They're not old by any means, but they're older than me and have been doing this longer than me. And like, they have been supportive, but are also like very good about like letting me, you know, like they want me to learn. Like Katie has worked with me on stuff that I didn't know. And she's like, I'm going to show you how to do this so that you know how to do it. You know, like it's
for sure.
I think it's really important if you can to find somebody who like loves the fact that there's somebody young and new coming into the sphere. You know what I mean?
For sure. I think too, it's interesting just on that whole note, it's in like, that they're so willing to just like let you figure it out. I think you need someone that on one hand, my mom is my hand holder. Like she'll like comfort me and do all that stuff. But my dad is the opposite. He's like, figure it out. Like you just have to do it. And I think that having that like good combination of the both really is really good. Cause it is good to learn and just like figure it out.
Yep. Making you better for it, stronger for it, whatever you want to say.
For sure.
Okay. So this might be a weird question and I don't even know how I'm going to phrase it, but like you and I, like, as far as looks wise, like we both love color, glitter, like the whole thing. Do you ever feel like, obviously not your customers because that's their vibe too, but do you ever feel like you kind of have to like make your like space, you know, like make yourself known a little bit more because like
For sure. I know what
people
you're
look
saying.
at like, you know, like you're, oh, the girl in the sequin dress.
Yeah,
She's so cute. It's like,
totally.
no, I'm in charge.
Yeah, for sure. I think too, it's funny. Sometimes I do downplay it. Like people will come into the store and there's a lot. We obviously we get an older clientele and
Yeah.
for sure. And it's always funny when men walk into the store. They're like, oh my gosh, I need to wear sunglasses. It's so bright in here. And I always think it's funny when they just like they'll just like downplay what they're like. Oh, who's like, where's your boss? Like whatever. And I always say that our dog Louie is the store manager. I'll be like, yeah, the manager's not here today. Just depending on who the person is, just like as a joke. But I think it's also on the opposite hand. People are like so amazed that I'm so young because obviously like I look young. I'm wearing this like crazy outfit and they're like, wow, that's so impressive. That's so awesome. And I'm like, yeah, it's really cool. I love it so much.
Yeah.
I totally get what you're saying. And I think too, I feel like in Savannah, I've kind of like found my people and you really have to find your people that like understand. But when you go out into like the greater Savannah, or like you go to the bar, people are like, what is this girl wearing? So I always think that's funny, but you just have to like own it and like make people like want to know who you are. Like, yeah, I like, this is who I am. Same thing with you. I mean, you show who you are through your outfits. And I think that that's what makes us so special.
I agree. And that's what I feel like people are listening to this and they're like, oh my God, like, you know, Legally Blonde came out like 15 years ago. No one thinks that women in pink can't do their job.
Yeah.
But like, you'd be surprised.
No,
like,
it's more just like they're like, how can someone take you seriously when you're wearing that? That's the biggest thing that I feel. But I think too, you have to find your people that like will take you seriously no matter what it doesn't matter what you're wearing.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
but I totally get what you're saying. 100%.
Yeah. And you know what? Whenever like these like blazer sets started like getting really popular, I'm like, oh my God, I can like have a blazer that's neon pink. I'm like, this is my time to freaking shine.
Yeah, they're so cute. Yeah, for sure. Love them.
Boss lady and neon. Okay. Let me look at my little list here. What like keeps you motivated? What keeps you going?
I think just like, I think for me, since we sell product, like I just love to like have a great sales day. And I think the brand that I sell for, Lily Pulitzer, they do a really good job of just making sure that there's always something new coming in. And I think on both hands, it's kind of hard because I'm always like 2 steps ahead of what reality is almost, because I'm always just like trying to do what's to be done next week. Like I'm always, when you're in a sales position, I mean, you know, you worked in sales. It's always like, okay, I did this. What else can I do now? It's almost like addicting. It's like, okay, it's just, I mean, that's totally what drives me. And I think to my customers, I love my customers. I surround myself with the best people I want to say in the world. I love them. And we just have I have such a great relationship with all of my customers. I love them. I think that for sure them. And I think it's fun too because most of my customers are not a lot older than I am, but older than I am. Yeah. And it's the way that like the relationship that we have with them. A lot of them say that they're like getting to see me grow up, which is super cool. So I think that, it's definitely my customers. I think that that's what drives me to get up every morning and just want to do better than the day I did before.
I love that. And you're great with the customers. Y'all know I have to bring my mom up every single week somehow.
I love your mom.
I know. I brought her in to meet Brynn, and like literally every time my mom comes to Savannah, she's like, can we swing by and see Brynn?
Yeah. So that's for sure the thing that every day it's great, like to see their lives and to watch their kids and just like to be a part of their lives is what's so special to me. And I know they feel the same way about me, which is great. So that's it's more than just like selling a product. It's a livelihood. I mean, it's my whole life. So
yeah, I feel it. So why? Well, I guess you kind of answered this. I always like to ask people like, why do you do what you do? But I mean, that was kind of the customers.
Yeah, for
Anything
sure.
else? Yeah. That's kind of the same question. Yeah. That's on me, you guys. So today is your birthday.
Yes.
What do you hope to accomplish like professionally and personally in the next year?
That is just such a tough question.
I know.
When you sent it to me, I was like, I don't even honestly know. I don't really set like, obviously I set like goals for my business of like numbers wise, what we want to perform. Right. But for me, I just like want to do better than truly what I do the day before. Like if I miss out on something or don't get something done, like I think that that's the biggest thing. It's just like keep moving forward. Don't dwell on the past. That's hard to do, especially when there's like things that are just going wrong, but truly just like put one step in front of the other and do better than what I did the year before. I would say that both professionally and personally, like there's not really that like separation between the two. Like it's just, one of my professors when I was in college, I took him my first like my first quarter in college. And he always said that it's like a blend. It's a blend of both. And this was way before I even thought about owning a business. This was just when I was like a little freshman at SCAD. He was so great. And it truly is. I think too, with like the whole, the way that the world is now, like you don't really, they have to cross over at some point. Doesn't matter if you work for yourself or if you work for Amazon or whoever you work for. It's that blend of like, what do I keep? And obviously there's some things that I keep separate within my business and within my personal life. But at the end of the day, like it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's just crazy. And like, sometimes I think about what are some jobs that like you can truly have separation. And like the only one that like maybe like a doctor, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel like you could kind of leave that at home.
So hard.
Right.
Especially like if someone would die, like how do you come home and not?
Oh
like,
my God.
I could not do that.
I could not do it. No, like emotionally, hell no. Like even my sister, she works at, she's like a medical assistant right now. She's trying to go to PA school.
That's what your mom was saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could not do that.
Even that, yeah. I'm like, do you ever get sad about stuff? And she's like, oh yeah, like, you know, it's not like you can just be like a stone cold like wall about it.
Sure.
But like also I feel like you could do both. Like whenever she's a PA, she could make her whole social media and her whole social life like about being a PA, and it would probably be really compelling and cool.
Yeah.
Or I feel like she could unplug it and
do her own thing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like that feels like you could do a separation.
I think like the social part is really hard because I'm just like, do people get so annoyed with me when all I post? It's hard. It's like, but like, what else do I have to post? I work 6 days a week. I mean, and I'm in the store 6 days a week. So I'm just like, I mean, obviously like we go out and we have fun, but I'm always wearing Lily. I always am passing out my business cards. I've met more customers in downtown Savannah at a bar. I'm not kidding. It's like, you're in Lily, here's a business card. Come see me the next day. But I mean, I don't know. I think that for sure it's, for some businesses, I'm sure obviously you can separate, but I think for us, it's like you were saying, you lay in bed and it's like, got to respond to this DM, which I think is what makes it so fun because you truly can work from anywhere. Like I was literally in the middle of the, I went on a cruise in October and I sat on a meeting in the middle of the ocean. I was like, had my AirPods in. I was definitely a little bit drunk and I was on a call and I was like, this is awesome. I wish I could always work from the ocean.
Work from the ocean. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that was like a one-time thing for sure, but you have to work hard and play harder. That is like the biggest thing I've learned.
Yep. What advice do you have for young women or just anyone who wants to get into the entrepreneurial world?
I think surround yourself with people who will support you is the biggest thing. Find your community and like really just dig deep into them and rely on people that you can trust. But I think if you want to do it, just do it.
Yeah.
You can't be afraid. Like you can't, I mean, when you came and did this, like you can't be, it's like, you can't live your life in fear. I think that's the biggest thing. You just have to do it. And obviously like every day is not going to be perfect and you're going to have a hard time and things are tough, but you just have to do it. Like you can't, I don't know, just do it and don't look back. That's what I did. I was like, I obviously, for me, I didn't really even stop and think like, what am I doing? Am I getting myself like down a road that I don't want to? I didn't even have time to like stop and think about that. I just did it and figured it out.
I love this. We are quick on our feet, people.
Yeah,
quick on our feet. Well, cool. Anything else you want me to know about you, your store, life?
No, I mean, I feel like anyone that comes into the store, I just like, you can stay for 5 minutes, you can stay for 50 hours, and you just can figure out a lot in a little bit of time. But what I was actually gonna ask you, what do you have like goals that you set for yourself for like the next year for 23? For like personally, like I'm very interested to know if there's any. If you want to share.
Yeah, no, I can share. This is fun. Wow, I'm like on the spot. Interviewer turned interviewee.
Whoops.
I think personally, I have been saying this on the show and people are not messaging me and holding me accountable, but I keep on saying that I want to start boxing again. That is such a small, stupid thing.
Oh, that's so fun.
But like, it really is something. And like, I don't know. The reason I'm not going is because it's either like 11 o'clock in the day that they have a class or it's at night. And I'm just like, haven't forced myself to change like my workout routine yet. Yeah.
That's me with Orange Theory. I need to like either get up earlier, come later. I don't know. That's for sure. I totally get that.
And it's no excuse. I just haven't done it. And so like, I'm like, if I don't do it, like I'd like to do it before January 1st so that then it's like already set, you know, like before going in.
Yeah.
But I would really like to get into that. And then I don't know. I want to get better at like budgeting my life and keeping stuff more organized, like in my personal life. You know, like I obviously like I pay my bills and stuff, but like I would like to, this sounds so adult and lame, but I would like to like have a monthly spreadsheet or something so that I can keep better track of it. Cause like I feel like I'm getting in a mindset where I'm like, and I know it's the business, like I've had to think about like financials more than I ever had in my life with this. So it's like reflecting on my personal life. Like I want to get that like more in order and like try to gain like wealth for myself. You know what I mean?
For sure. I think that's it's hard to do for sure.
Yeah.
And I was home this weekend and I was like talking to my dad about, I think like 401ks or something we were talking about. And I'm like, I should really work on that because like I think of like retirement. Obviously like we have to figure, I don't even know. I honestly don't know. That's something I need to figure out.
Yeah.
How retirement works when you're self-employed. I think you just have to like put money aside. And obviously I'm so new to it and we're so young. Like we got a lot of time to worry about retirement.
I know.
But that's definitely things that like you have to like add to the list. Something else I'm to think about when I wake up at 3 a.m. How am I ever going to be able to retire? Yeah. So it's just, I think that's really good.
Yeah. That's like the bigger goal. And then the boxing is a more attainable one. Like I could do that today.
For sure. I mean, yeah, you're not going to be able to retire next week.
No,
sorry, not going to happen in 23.
Long goal.
But for sure, I think that should be, and I think that's like what's interesting about people our age is that I think that when you graduate from college, obviously I haven't finished yet, but I think that you just like kind of you're thrown into the world and you just have to like figure it out. But I think that on one hand is super cool, but on the other hand, if you don't have parents that are like willing to sit down and explain stuff to you and like dumb it down, but I even think sometimes I'm like, do you guys even know what you're talking about? Do you just like make it up? Like who really knows? Right. So I think that's like, all my friends that I went to high school with have just like graduated from college. And I think it's interesting. It's like, do you guys know what you're doing either? Like, I think that truly our generation doesn't really know what we're doing, but I think that's what makes life so fun. Like you just got to figure it out.
It is fun. Like I remember whenever I took my first job, I'm like, I have never even done like a real job interview before.
Yeah.
You know, I like didn't know, like, do I bring a snack? Like little things like that. And I'm like, I'm embarrassed. I'm not going to ask that. But now, like with this podcast, that's the whole point of this show.
To like figure, just
I'm
like
gonna ask the stupid questions.
Yeah, because you can.
For you, yeah.
Absolutely. I think that I always tell a story when I opened my store, my first day on the job. So I always had worked for my parents. I mean, I've had a job like my whole life. I swear I've like done something since I was like 8. My parents always said that when I was 8, I could run a small country. Like I truly believe that.
I could see it.
But my first day, when I worked in retail, they wanted me to like Swiffer the store. And my boss was my best friend. She's now one of my best friends. And I didn't know how to like run the Swiffer the correct way that she wanted. Like I knew how to do it like the Howard way, but not the way that she wanted. And when I opened my store, she's like, look at you. The first day you didn't even know how to run a Swiffer and now you're running a business. I'm like, I didn't know how to run a Swiffer then and I don't know how to run a business now. But just like I did when I learned how to run the Swiffer, I will learn how to run the business.
100%.
And I did. I mean, I like to think that I did. So that's always like our little funny joke between the two of us. And now I just told it to all these people on the podcast. So kind of funny.
I love it. I mean, that's so true though. Last week, I like made a joke. I felt like all the questions that I was asking Katie about real estate were so like basic, stupid questions. But then I was like, you're not born knowing how to buy a house.
No, for sure.
You're not born knowing how to Swiffer.
I just bought a house too in this past August and I was listening to like the little preview of the podcast. And I probably would have won the house that I actually wanted if what was the clause that she was talking about?
Escalation clause.
Escalation clause. I'm not kidding. I would have won the house that I wanted if I would have known about that. I mean, I love my house. Don't get me wrong, but I like was under contract on 12 homes or whatever before. Which I love my house. It's great. I have a huge backyard, which is good for my dogs. But it would have been nice to know that. So I wish I would have had the podcast 6 months ago when I was buying a house.
Listen, y'all. That's what the show is for.
Figure it out. That's how it works.
We're figuring it out and we're learning something.
Yeah.
So I have one more question just about retail. So you like joked that whenever you get new inventory in, you like, you know, get one for you. Do you like every like week whenever something comes in, are you like is your closet just full of
it's not even week.
things?
It's like a daily thing. It's terrible. Oh my gosh. But it's
so
the best thing. I think the biggest thing for me is that I have to wear new stuff to sell new stuff because if I'm wearing something like I have so many clothes. I love clothes. You have a lot of clothes too, I'm sure. But I always, every time I wear something that's like not new, if I wear it to the store, people are like, oh my gosh, I'd rather have what you're wearing than the new stuff you're selling. So I just like mix and match for sure, like new stuff and older stuff. But I would say for the most part, and like, yeah, I get at least something new every single day.
Oh my God.
For sure. I mean, the thing for me, I think with retail, which is different for a lot of boutiques, is my customer is me. and I think like all of these amazing podcasts that like I do listen to a lot of retail like studies and stuff like that, and a lot of podcasts, and they always say that you have to buy for your customer, not for yourself. And I'm like, well, lucky for me, my customer is myself. So my customers like the styles that I want are the styles that they want, which is super interesting. So I think I've like cultured this customer that's around me that is, they want what I want.
Yeah.
Which is super cool. And I wouldn't say that that's probably not the same for a lot of other businesses. And I think retail specific boutiques that a lot of the times like the owner or the buyer is not, their target customer is not themselves.
Yeah.
For me, like if I love something and I believe something, because at the end of the day, like when I buy inventory, I'm putting so much dollars into it. Like I have to believe in it enough for myself to buy it.
Yeah.
Cause it's I'm putting my money into it. I'm investing my money to make sure that it turns around, and like if it doesn't sell, that's on me. So obviously there's like a gameplay with that, but from day one, that's like, if anything I've gone right, it's the buying, because, and that's what I love to do. I mean, I love going to market. I love picking stuff out. That's like my favorite thing to do. It's just like finding new brands, bringing new brands to Savannah, and introducing new brands to my customers, especially like getting to support other women. That's the biggest thing for me. Like I want other women to own and run businesses and like brands and just like all the things. I want that to be the spirit that I embody and the thing that I represent in Savannah.
Yeah.
And just online too. I mean, obviously like my customer base goes much more than Savannah, but I love Savannah. And I think that my business like starts here, but it's open-ended. It can go anywhere.
Yeah. Oh, I think that everything that you just said, you're doing exactly that. I mean, thanks. I feel it. Last week, we went to this like whole igloo thing, and there was like 30 minutes where it was like just a couple of other like female business owners in the igloo, and it was just joyful.
It was so fun.
It made me feel so good.
Yeah, it was so good.
Cool.
I think that's what's so cool about Savannah too, is that we just are so focused on supporting other people versus I think I'm sure in a lot of other communities it's like, oh my gosh, they're my competition. And I really truly don't think that at all about Savannah.
Yeah.
I think that there's so many people at the end of the day doing the same thing but doing something that's so different. And I think that's what makes it so amazing. Like I think realtors all the time. I mean, how many people here are realtors? But they're that's what I'm saying. There are so many realtors, but obviously everyone's making it and making a living off of it. So I think that they're a perfect example. Like there are so many of realtors that are selling homes, but there's so many homes to sell. There's enough business in Savannah for everybody. So I think that's what's so amazing too, is that the community is so supportive of everyone and what everyone else is doing. So I think that is why I love living here.
Yeah. And I feel like Savannah is like on the cusp of, I mean, I feel like we're still popping off, and I love Savannah, but like I feel like we're on the cusp of like really popping off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like it's growing so quick. Like different neighborhoods are like really growing fast, and I just feel so excited. I'm like, everybody moved to Savannah.
Yeah,
like,
for sure. And I think like 10 years from now, it's going to be even more amazing.
I love it.
For sure. So I'm excited.
Well, thank you. If there's anything
no,
else you want,
thank you for having me here today. This was such a fun way to spend my birthday.
I'm serious. I'm so happy that this worked out.
Yeah,
like birthday, you had a Christmas story.
Yes.
I like it's just great. Great
Yeah,
timing.
kind of an embarrassing Christmas story, but it's okay. My parents will think. I mean, I literally, not kidding, like every year inevitably I would fall.
Do you have any pictures?
Yeah, but I'll send you one. I'm wearing this so my mom lived in Germany when she was in high school, and she has like all these like German coats, because it must have been really, I'm not really sure. I'm very challenged in that department. And she has this like hat it's like a German hat, and I would always wear that, and when I'm holding the dog, and my dad was like so worried. He's like, well, did you hurt the dog when you fell? And I was like, thanks, Dad, I'm doing just fine, by the way.
I'm okay.
But I'm definitely, in one of the times I had fallen, I'm wearing like a big ski jacket and this like black fur German hat. That's like, I don't know, I definitely remember that for sure.
I wonder if it's one of your mom's friends who's our German listener.
Maybe it is.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
That would be funny.
Let us know.
Yeah.
Oh, funny. Well, cool. Well, if you have any pictures that I can use as visual aid,
definitely.
please.
I'll think about it, but probably not.
Okay.
Don't get your hopes up.
I'll draw it for you guys.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Well,
thanks for having me.
Thank you.
This was amazing.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do our tag out because I don't have anything else to say at the end. You guys know where to find us. Every single Monday morning, new episodes drop. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, anywhere you can find a podcast. And you can watch us, like I said, on YouTube as a video show. And don't forget to subscribe, like, rate, leave us a review, all of it. That helps us more than you know. So, yeah, thanks. Cool. Thanks so much, Brynn.
Yeah. Come see me at the Print Beach.
Yes. Oh, my God. Wait. I'm going to put it all in the video, but, like, plug all of your stuff.
All right. So, Instagram is the Print Beach Savannah.
Okay.
And then Shop Lime and Lemon. And then my Instagram is Brynn on the Go. And we're located at 417 Whitaker Street.
Okay.
In downtown Savannah, Georgia. We're in the downtown design district. It's like, I don't know, 10-minute walk from the river, and it's just come down Whitaker. You can't miss us. We have bright pink doors, and you will need sunglasses when you walk in the store, apparently. So we're pretty bright.
I love it. Okay, cool. All right, y'all. Thank you for being here.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks.